Youth experiencing homelessness often struggle to get access to birth certificates, identification cards, driver's licenses because of the cost and the difficulty when it comes to that documentation due to instability. It's something that if you have it, you don't think about it, but if you don't have it, it can be a huge detriment to whatever you're trying to access. I'm Delegate Adele McClure. I represent Arlington's 2nd House District, which is along the Metro Corridor right outside of DC, completing my first term in elected office. As a child, I experienced homelessness myself, not far from where I represent. This lived experience really helps to inform a lot of the policy decisions in my legislative agenda. I wanted to bring forward a bill that would break down barriers and expand access for youth who are experiencing homelessness and are trying to achieve stability. It strives to help young folks get specifically free access to identification and documents that help these young people secure stable housing, attend school, participate in the workforce, and gain financial independence. In the 2022 to 2023 school year, Virginia's public schools identified nearly 20,000 students experiencing homelessness, which is an increase of 18.6% from the previous school year. And then they also identified 455 unaccompanied youth who are homeless on their own without a parent or guardian. This bill was extremely crucial to make sure that we're breaking down barriers. Many of us and folks in society at the start have birth certificates and then later identification card, driver's licenses. They have no problem obtaining these documents. When I was growing up, it was a big problem for me. And then I also know from my work at the Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development that a lot of youth experience these barriers, and identification is key to accessing services. When this idea came about, I was really excited about championing it and taking it on because I know personally and professionally how crucial it is to get access to identification and then also specifically making that access free. I talked to my colleagues, let them know that this is a low cost strategy to enable more young Virginians to access the resources needed to actually live and thrive. Just something as low cost as waiving a fee could be so critical to a young person. Benefit to the Commonwealth of Virginia is actually greater if we just waive the fee and give access to identification and allow these young folks to engage and live and thrive in Virginia. I think that it was a pretty winning argument when it comes to accessing services, especially youth who are experiencing homelessness. It's really hard to argue against a low-cost strategy that will help an individual gain access to some crucial and critical services. See beyond the text of a bill and see the human behind the issue that you're addressing. This will benefit the Commonwealth far greater than savings from the fees. Just go ahead and waive the documents up front because that can lead to access to a job, and that means participation in the economy, and that means more services for people all around in Virginia. And then also these folks who have been able to thrive with assistance have been able to give back to their community, help other youth who are experiencing some similar things that they experienced when they were growing up. So I know that that has really truly informed my passion and motivation and legislative agenda when it comes to addressing these types of issues. I've also been on the implementation side of an idea when I was at DHCD in Virginia. And so when you think about implementation, you have to think specifically about what every single word in that bill means and how it impacts the code. So the only challenges that I encountered with this bill were technical in nature and potentially budget related. Just give you an example, Office of Vital Records is a revenue-based office within the Department of Health. And so it's a minor loss of revenue that needed to be replaced within our budget to maintain the operations at current levels. And so you have to work on the budget side to ensure that that is the case. But then also you need to clarify that what you mean in the intent of the bill is reflected in the actual code. I'm a big fan of not reinventing the wheel if you don't have to, so I definitely recommend reaching out to SchoolHouse Connection and learn how documentation laws have been implemented in other states. Aside from here in Virginia, other states have already adopted legislation to waive fees for vital documents like Arkansas, Florida, Alabama, Oklahoma, and South Dakota. So again, not reinventing the wheel. SchoolHouse Connection has done this work already and has been very vital in terms of how we got the bill through the legislature and then informing a lot of the process. Information that they have received from other states was really critical to getting this bill over the line. Working with someone who can be That centralized voice behind the scene is really, really important because it also helps to sell the issue where you say, I have all this information about what all these other states did and how they implemented it and where they are in the process, and it really helps to push the issue forward because it's already been done. It also helps to make the case for why it's so needed and why the implementation will work and bring big impacts and returns to your state, especially for advocates and organizations and other folks who are in this particular space. Letting folks in the community know what's available to them and how they can access these services, continuing on even in the face of tremendous challenges, is really key for keeping our community together. Also engaging with your elected officials to ensure that they're doing everything in their power to protect the individuals. It's really important to look to the local and state level, keep on keeping on, but then also coming up with innovative ideas and ways to continue to support these youth who are experiencing things that youth shouldn't experience. Development happens at a very early age, making sure that we are supporting our young folks and showing up for them and doing everything we can to make sure that they can live and thrive and continue on to be the leaders of the next generation is key. It's really up to us to foster that growth and foster that leadership in them. Anything you can do to show up for youth in this space, I think, is really critical. You can't do everything and you can't do everything alone.